Welcome to Retro Scale Modelling. This is part 2 of the AMT Star Trek USS Enterprise B build. In the first part I dealt with the saucer section and putting that together with the LEDs. And this part I'm dealing with the main hull, so pretty much the same as the saucer section, putting it together, putting in LEDs and so forth. If you get the chance, why don't you check out part 1, but let's jump into this one. So to start off with, it's the sub-assembly of the hull. So this is the bottom part, and it just goes along a couple of runners here. And once it's complete, I'm just checking for areas where there'll be any light blazing. That's obviously the same as that will have to be dealt with. Next is the bottom part of the hull, and having to drill a small hole here for letting the cables run down to the base. So again, it's just pin drive in it to open up the initial hole, as you can see there. And then after that, it's putting in my hobby knife and just twirling it around until I increase the hole size. There we go. So once the hole's in, done even, just checking it to see whether it lines up with the hole at the bottom of the hull. You do have a little bit of room for error here, so don't worry if you can't get it dead on, but it does fit quite well. So this part's got to be painted because it's an interior colour which you will actually see inside the model. So the base coat is going to be Revell Aqua Color 91, which is steel. And it's the same for the inside part. Make sure you cover all of this up. See the ridges inside, they are shown, so make sure it's all covered in your choice of paint. And also it's a good time to prep the deflector dish. So I'm taking the deflector dish, and because it's a solid piece of plastic, I'm just again drilling a little hole for the light to come through. Now this kit does come with a plastic clear deflector dish, but I think it's for the NX2000 or the Excelsior. It's a lot larger than it is for this kit anyway. I thought it was part of the kit. I was like, oh, how do I fit that? But it's not for this part, so just be careful that you're getting the right part for the kit. Once I was happy with the diameter of the hole, it's time to paint it, so I'm painting it in Revell Aqua Color Clear Blue 752. Just a light coat is needed really on this. You can build it up if you wish to a deeper blue. And once that was dry, time to do a small light test. Now this is a already pre-soldered blue 3mm LED that I done earlier on. So I'm just hooking it up to a power supply, and the camera washes it out a little bit, but just obviously it shining through. And the paint's dry, so it's time to fit in. Now be careful when you're fitting this in. It goes from you fit it in from the inside, not from the back side, which you might think is the way to go. Painting a little bit of detail inside the panel that I'm going to be putting in. I'm starting off with Revell Aqua Color 12 yellow, and then I'm moving on to Revell Aqua Color 34 Italian red, and just putting in details. Not sure whether what the colours are for the interior of the ship. Couldn't find great pictures, so I just made it up as I went along. So there's little markings on it that I just painted red and yellow just to give it a contrast. And then I moved on to Revell Aqua Color 752 Clear Blue, and as I said, just putting some details in. Back to the deflector dish and housing. This just pops in. There's two little contact points at the top and bottom, and it just pushes in. And then for the bottom part to go in. Again, it fits quite nicely within the ridges. A simple bit of glue and pushing it in. And once it was in, I just put a bit of filler around the seams. You won't see this outside the model, so I just put a good bead around it to make sure there was no light bleed. I'm making up two LEDs for the side panel where the insert went into. These are 3mm blue LEDs. So again, just getting the resistor, wrapping it around the longer prong, and soldering that connection. Careful that you don't cut your fingers while you're taking the sheath off the wire. Once the wire's attached, time to solder that point. And once they've cooled, I'll put on the sheath to shrink it down over the joint. Now I'm just putting a little bit of super glue in here to hold down a piece of plasticine I'm putting in for a cradle for the light as well. That will help with light blocking. So the plasticine is going in, it's just a little sausage shape, just wrapping it around the housing. And once that's in place, it's time to put the LED in. I put a little bit of super glue on top of the plasticine, not necessary, but better to be safe and sound. And that just pops into the hole I made earlier. Now for a light test, just to make sure everything's working. Remember what I said, every time you change something or do something on an LED, check it afterwards. That way you can backtrack if anything goes wrong. So you can see it going in there. For the two LEDs that I'm putting down the side of the base unit, I'm connecting these together as one unit. So it's the positive to the positive, negative to the negative, and twist them together before putting on another wire of negative onto negative and so forth. Again, twist that onto the joint you've already made. So you've basically got two wires coming up from both LEDs. So once that's on and you've twisted it and it's secure, it's time to solder them. Now when you're soldering this particular joint, you don't want a lot of solder on it, you really don't want it to be lumpy, so just a little bit of solder to go on. The reason why I'm connecting them this way is because I only want one positive and one neutral going to the power point. I don't want 4 wires leading out of this. It's just to save room, really, but it's good practice when you're doing the LEDs to do things like this, so you've not got wires coming from everywhere. And once you're happy with your connection points, just do a light test, then you cover the joining up with a bit of insulating tape. Next is a strip LED running down the main base of the unit. Now this is 4 sets of 3, so it's 12 LEDs. On each section I'm putting a bit of solder on each contact point. This is to allow for the wires all to be connected, because there's one good thing about these lights: you can have multiple wires going to each contact point around the strip, or down the strip I should say, and it just enables you to connect more without having to twist wires together and so forth. So once I pre-soldered them, I put the wires in, as you can see here. These ones are going to be for the Walton cells, and the two at the front are going to be for the main power. So once I've pre-soldered and put the power cables in and the cell wires in, it's time to put in the strip light, and I'm just feeding it through the wires I've already got. They're not connected to this yet, they will be in a moment. So just checking it one for fit, then I'll be removing the backing paper because this does stick down on its own, and then put them in place. And once you're happy with the fit, just gently press it down, and the adhesive on the light strip will adhere to the plastic. You can always add hot glue and things like that afterwards, which I did, just to make sure it won't move. Now it's time to solder in the LEDs that I put in earlier on. So it's just using my solder iron to heat up the solder points that I done previously, and just pushing in the wires once the solder softens. It can be a little bit tricky this part, but just take your time and go easy, and you should be okay. And now it's all connected. I'm just putting a bit of hot glue in to make sure nothing moves, just tapping down the wires. I'm also putting the hot glue over the points to make sure they don't come off, and using a little trick there, just cocktail stick to hold down the wire while placing the glue. It takes seconds to dry, it doesn't take long. And then once that's all done, do a final light test for this part, just making sure it's all working. Now you also want to do a light test on all your cables that are going to be showing. Don't worry about the flicker, that's just wires touching. You can see there the light coming through at the bottom and the sides there, but you want to check every cable to make sure it's okay. And you can see the light for the deflector dish coming through as well. For the top of the hull, on the neck, I'm just again drilling another hole for the cables to come through. So again using my pin drive and then my hobby knife to increase the size of the hole. Then it's a simple case of feeding the wires through the holes and then closing it up with the cement. I had to put a couple of clamps on this, but it's okay. The fit did go really well on this particular part. Other parts not so well, but this fit did work out quite well. So just a few normal clamps here just to keep it in place. On to painting the neck. So the main colour on the neck is Revell Aqua Color 79 greyish blue. Same with the shuttle bay doors, the same colours going on, and it's also the same with the neck for the warp nacelle struts. Now these go from the main hull supporting the struts that have the nacelles on. Moving on to painting the main body. Now I forgot to mention in part 1 of the saucer section, but this colour is made up with Revell Aqua Color 05 white and Revell Aqua Color 76 light grey. Now it's 2 part white to 1 part grey to make up the colour. Moving on to the detailing now that the base paint is dry. So the first colour I'm putting in is Revell Aqua Color 49 light blue. So with this colour going on, it's the pattern is faint outlines on the actual kit itself where to put them, but I would recommend doing a little bit of research on the web if you're not sure where to put them. There's a lot of pictures out there for the Excelsior and the NX2000, which is the prototype for this class, but not many pictures for the Enterprise B, so it's worth trying to find a picture that you're more comfortable with in what scheme you want to do. I should point out though, I didn't paint these free-handed. I did mask them off and I used Tamiya's 2mm curved masking tape for this. So once the paint was dry, it was just a case of peeling off the masking tape. Then it was back to the top of the hull and I'm painting these panels with Revell Aqua 79 greyish blue. And at the back of the hull, the detailing was painted in Revell Aqua Color 49 light blue. Onto the warp nacelle struts now, and again I'm making a hole to receive the wires. Now depending on where your wires are coming out of, depending on the size of the hole. I initially made a hole in the centre, but found that it wasn't quite right, so in the end I done another couple of holes just to receive the wires. Doesn't really matter because there's a lot of room for the wires to come up. It depends on how you place them. So before I put the two halves together and detailing it, so the first colour is Revell Aqua 79 blue grey, and the other colour was of course the Revell Aqua 49 light blue. And again, once it's dry, just peeling off the masking tape, and then you can see it there. Moving on to the neck, and there's a couple of, I think they're phasers or cannons, I'm not sure, on the neck, but they are painted in Revell Aqua Color 49 for contrast. Time to attach the neck. So the one piece goes in first, just a little bit of cement to hold it in initially, and once you get a little bit of cement on, make sure you check the fit so everything's alright, then marry up the second part. Then once it's all on, it's time to put in the back piece, so pretty much the same again, a little bit of cement just to hold it, and then just slides into place, and then you can just put the cement down the seams from the inside for a better hold. And for the neck of the warp nacelle struts, it's the same principle, so I'm just joining the two ends together. I'll wait a few seconds till they dry, and once it's dry it's just a matter of threading the wires through and then making sure you line it up with the hull in the recess, and it just slots into position And because there's hot wires in, I'm not cementing the two struts together just yet. I'm feeding the wires through into position. You can see the extra holes that I made just to give me a little bit more room to maneuver. Once it's in position, I haven't glued this yet. I'm just taking the wires and forming them into the shape along the strut and holding it down with a little bit of tape. And once I'm happy with that position, I'm just putting in a little bit of super glue to hold the wire in place. Then after a little bit of cement, it's time to place the top part on. And once it was on, I just used a couple of F clamps to hold it into position. So I'll let this dry overnight. So now it's time to do a light test to see everything's still working. And yeah, the lights are coming on. You can start seeing the pattern coming into shape now. So the last thing I place on the hull is the shuttle bay doors. So it's just a case of a little bit of cement and then marry it onto the part. So next up underneath the hull is the, I think it's phaser bank cannons. I didn't know what colour to paint it, so I just decided to put a bit of colour into them. So initially it's the Revell Aqua number 12 yellow, and then moved on to Revell Aqua Colour 34 red, just to give it a little bit of contrast. Then moved on to Revell Aqua Colour 61 yellow green. And once it was all dry, it was just a small case of slotting it into position. Now this will bring part 2 of the build to a close. That's the main hull made up, and it was a little bit tricky. There was one or two parts that didn't quite fit, but with a lot of persuasion I got them there in the end. So it's starting to turn out okay now. So if you get a chance, why don't you check out my other videos. But for now, thank you all for watching. Bye bye.